We also heard from Andy Smith, who was Jennifer's boss. He testified she could have absolutely gone home. She works from home and there's flexibility, that they have kids that come to work, that the meeting that she wanted to get to was not in any way mandatory, and he testified about some very bizarre communications. He testified that as soon as she left, he got a text saying, the bullets are gone, the gun is gone, he must be the shooter. Oh my God. Those were deleted by Jennifer Crumbley. We don't know why. I think there's a lot of circumstantial evidence to suggest why, which is those are statements you don't want on your phone. And then, not 3 hours after her son shot and killed 4 people, and he's already in custody, and is already clear that he is probably never, ever, ever going to be out of prison for the rest of his life, she's texting, "Don't judge me based on what he did. I need my job." Her explanation for that, she was in planning mode. The next witness is Amanda Holland, who testified that she came back to the work that day. She had the worksheet. Andy Smith also said she before the shooting occurred, she was down, she was sad. I feel like a failure as a parent. I feel like a failure as a parent. This is before the shooting. And she also tells Amanda about this, and she tells Amanda he can't be alone. So I'm just going to take him to the barn tonight. We can get to it a little bit later. I guess what's really hard to comprehend is how before the shooting, just based on the meeting and what she knows and the drawing, she thinks she's a failure of a parent. But she sat right here and said, after all, she doesn't really think she was a failure as a parent. And that's after she knows everything that happened. Detective Adam Stoyak executed the search warrant at the defendant's home. I want to make it really clear. Jennifer Crumbley is not being charged with involuntary manslaughter because she has a dirty house. That's absurd. And you can see pictures so we can prove that she didn't have her house clean. I don't care if her house is clean or not, and I don't think you do either. Those pictures are shown to you because that is where the shooter lived and it's where she lived. And you saw his 2 bedrooms. There was barely a place for him to sleep. The testimony shows he had no person in his life after that friend left. He was not in a club. He was not in sports. He wasn't working. When I see those photos, what I think is, 2 rooms that were completely filthy, dusty, covered with clothes everywhere. But then, I think, what? That is where he spent 99% of his time. It's where he ate Thanksgiving dinner, just days before the shooting. The search warrant photos were also shown to you so you could understand where these guns were stored. We have a pretty good idea that the Kel-Tec and the Derringer were in what's called the gun safe. The lock was 000, but we know that they were kept there. What do we know about the safe? The Jennifer Crumbley's son's gun. We know that there was a box on the bed and the ammunition next to it. This is the box. This is the box. I'm sorry, this is the thing. Let me get the other copy. He's going to show you in a minute. This is the box of the Kel-Tec, which was found with this cable lock inside of it. Where she kept the other guns? No.
I'm sorry, is that the box or the case? Is that the box or the safe?
This is the box.
What's the box?
It was in the kitchen, in a cupboard, down in the
But
cupboard.
the empty box was in the kitchen, right?
I don't. What exhibit
Your
number
Honor,
is that?
this is my closing argument, and I would just like to finish, please.
Sure. Can you tell us what exhibit number it is?
Yes, it is 35.
Go ahead.
This was found in the kitchen. Inside is a cable lock. This was found on the end of the defendant's bed. Special Agent Brandon showed you what it's like to open this up and close it. You hear that clap? It's not an easy thing. So what this was laid out on the defendant's bed, and the bullets are right next, the box of the ammunition is right next to it, empty. The story, one of the stories that is told by Jennifer Crumbley is he must have come in there when they were sleeping, because she was in that bed all night long, and they left after her. Except that the ammunition was in the box. Taking it out and leaving the box while your parents are sleeping doesn't make a lot of sense. And it doesn't make a lot of sense that this was taken, the weapon was taken out of this case with no one hearing while they were sleeping. And you are allowed to use your own common sense. He also testified about the search warrant. He testified where this cable lock was found, and he testified where the case and the box was found. And he testified where the gun safe was found. It was not, unlike what Jennifer Crumbley alleged, stored separately from the ammunition. It was actually right next to the ammunition. In a gun safe, the other two guns with a combination 000. Sergeant Peschke arrives at the scene, doesn't know anything about the Crumbleys, doesn't know that they've already been to the substation, doesn't know that they were at the school that day. He's there and was ordered to be there to keep the house safe while they are waiting for the search warrant. And in doing so, he needs to keep the defendant out of the house. She goes in the back of the car, and you saw the video. She now tells Sergeant Peschke she actually never really looked closely at that worksheet. Now that she looks at it, it might be disturbing. We know that's not the truth. The question is, why is she lying? She says that the .45 caliber gun used at the school, and he asks us it was, and tells him no, it was a 9mm. The other is a .22, I think. She said that they had a fight the night before with her son over grades. And she says, so we told him, no gun range, no phone. Those are his trigger points. Ladies and gentlemen, that phone was never taken away from her son. We know that. We know that because he had it the night before, and he had it at the school. We know that because when Jennifer was asked about it, and asked, when did you take this phone away? We know that he made that video in that shed about the school shooting with his phone at 10 o'clock. The phone was never taken away. Why is she saying that? I don't know. Then she says, my biggest fear was that he turned the gun on himself. And when he asked her, do you ever keep guns in your car? Here's what she did. Shook her head. It's not what she says here today. Next, we heard from Bob Patelis, who processed the scene. And you saw those pictures, and they were hard to see. He told you that there were 32 fired cartridge casings. He collected all that evidence, took all the photographs, and recovered the murder weapon. Lieutenant Marsban was also at the school that day, and he testified that he picked up the phone and saw the screen and saw that the last text was, Ethan, don't do it, from Mom. He executes search warrants for all of the devices and the home and sends a team, including Officer Peschke, to secure the house before the search warrant is executed, which is what they do. He testified that when he went into the house, he finally got there and he needed their phones. And he testified that Jennifer Crumbley said, no, I don't want to give you my phone. I'm not giving you my phone. She finally relents because her husband says they're going to get it either way. And then she doesn't want to give the passcode up. She doesn't want to give the phone up. But the most important thing that Lieutenant Marsman said is when he described how he had to identify the body of Hannah in Madison that day.